I want to talk to you about Explode the Code. Today, I'm going to show you some simple ways to mix it up and add some fun. I'm Jamie, and this is Simply Learning Together, where I like to share different things about our homeschool with you. I recently added Explode the Code this year for my kindergartner. I picked book 1 because she had her letters and sounds down pretty well. And after looking at their website and seeing what was in each book, this seemed like a good place to start. When we first got the book, I was super excited. It allowed her to practice her sounds and also do a little bit of reading, and it's just what we needed as kind of like a gentle approach to teaching her how to read. I did notice that once you get into the lessons, it starts to repeat itself. So for example, it has the same kind, like 5 or 6 pages, and then it'll start over again with a new letter and have the same 5 or 6 pages. So it is repetitive. This is great because she knows how the pages go. She can do them independently at times, so it's very easy for her to catch on. At times, though, it can start to feel kind of like a bore. And so sometimes I like to just add a little bit of a change to make it fun. And I'm going to show you how we do that today. My goal is to look at the pages in this lesson of book 1. And actually, I've seen some of the other books and their pages are set up in the same way. So if you're not in book 1, this still might work for you. At least some of them might. I'm going to look at a page and I'm going to give you an option of what you could do to make it a little bit different. Now, one thing I want to remind you of is when I do something like this, I would not suggest this is something that you do every day. That would be exhausting. This is more for, if you want to add a little bit of a change in a day. Maybe it's rainy and the school day is kind of dragging and you want to add something different. Or maybe some attitudes are poor and you kind of just need to spice it up to bring some smiles in. This is a good thing to have. Maybe you're having a rough time with this book and you decide, you know what, for 2 or 3 days, I'm going to do something completely different instead of just working in the book, just to kind of mix it up. So use it with that in mind, not necessarily something you want to do every single day. I also want to tell you that I'm actually going to be cutting up some of these workbook pages. I love cutting up textbooks. Maybe there's something weird, oddly satisfying about it, but also, it's just so much easier because I paid for this. I'm going to use it. The information's already there. I don't need to go out looking online for extra worksheets, extra activities. I can just use what's right here in front of me, cut up the pictures, cut up the words, and make activities that work for us. So if you are going to do one of these activities and cut the page, you get to decide how you want to do that. The reason I say that is because they are front and back. Sometimes I just skip one side altogether. Sometimes I'll see one and I'll think, oh, you know what? We should do this activity. I'm going to do the other side first, and then tomorrow we can go back and I can cut it up. And so I know the one side is already done. Another thing you can do, if you have a copy machine, you could copy it. So it's just totally up to you, but just keep that in mind when I say cut something out. Make sure you're thinking about how you want to use the other side of the page. So I'm going to show you the page, and I'm going to show you an example of what you can do. And I hope that you think these are as simple as I do, and I hope that you guys have fun with them. You can also check out a blog post that I wrote where I describe it on the website as well. And so I will put a link to that blog post in the description for you. Let's get started.
I'm going to start with this page here. We've already done it, and I'm going to cut it up so that way it doesn't mess up any of our future pages. You can see here it says, find the picture that begins with the sound and circle it. I'm going to go and I'm going to cut out these strips of pictures here so that she can end up cutting out the picture instead, and I'll show you what I mean. So as you can see, I'm just left with strips of paper. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to review the sound with my child, and I can just use the directions from the top of the page. So we can talk about the sound, do this example at the top, and then I'm going to have her put the letter at the top, and I'm even going to have her put the symbol so that we're practicing that as well, that means the short sound. So she has her letter written up here. Next, I'm going to have her choose a strip of paper, And keep in mind, it won't be circled. This is one we've already done. She will pick the picture that starts with the sound. So in this instance, it's ant. And I'm actually going to give her the scissors so that she's actually doing the cutting and doing the pasting. And so then she can paste it anywhere she wants on this paper. And then our paper is just going to be filled with the sounds. And I'll show you what I mean. So in the end, you just have a paper with the sound and the different pictures that make that sound on a piece of paper. If you have a place that you display your work in your homeschool, you can put it up there. Maybe you want to put it on your fridge or somewhere in your room, or maybe you want to toss it when they're not looking. It's totally up to you, but just something fun and different instead of working in the book. For this page right here, I'm going to show you a picture of what we did. We actually did something with watercolors that turned out really cute. But if you don't like using paint or watercolors or something like that, you can also just use a colored pencil. This is in the book, but it's still changing it up just enough. You're going to read the word and shade in the color. And then instead of circling the word, just take your pencil and shade in the matching word. You could do a pattern. You could do just all one color. It's totally up to you. And I will show you, we did this with watercolors and we actually did it rainbow. So we did red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and she picked the color at the end. And I tore out this piece of paper and glued it on construction paper because this is really thin. But gluing it on that paper just made it a little more sturdy so that we could use the watercolors and paint the matching color. And it turned out really cute. I'll show you a picture of that now. Okay, for this next one, you just have to quickly get this one thing ready and I'll show you what that is. Let me read the directions to you first. It says read, copy, and circle it. So they're going to be reading the word, finding the matching picture, and then writing the word. So the way that we did it is I had a dry erase pocket. I use these as a dry erase board. So if you have that, that's fine. Or if you want to just do a scratch piece of paper, that's fine. And then I made a card that has 6 different movements, and I'll show you how we use that. But the reason I have 6 is because we're also going to be using a die. And so what we did was I sat at the kitchen table. I actually put this pocket on the other side of the kitchen so that she would actually have to move to it in order to get there. And I had a little clip that I just put it on the wall. And so what she did was she came over and she read this word and then she circled the picture. Once she circled the picture, I had her roll the die. So she would roll it and let's say she got 2. We looked in our card and 2 is walk backwards. Now you can pick whatever motions you want. You could make these animals if you wanted. You could pick any exercise you'd like. Let's just pretend we're doing walk backwards. So she would walk backwards to the other side of the room where I have this hanging, and then she can write on the board and show me and I can check it. And then she would come back to me and we could play again. For this next page, we are actually going to take it outside. Since I don't want to film it outside, I'm just going to show you on this piece of paper. So I would hope to use Sidewalk chalk, and I'm going to create these columns of letters for her just to use Sidewalk chalk. So I'll show you how I set it up. What I did was I showed her the picture, and then she would identify it. And usually by this point, they've used the picture in the past, so they know what it is. Like you can see over here, they knew it was pup. So she would say pup. And on the sidewalk, I would write the same letters. So it wasn't any extra work. So I just would write P, G, U, N, and obviously you would spread it out more on your sidewalk. B, P. And I took 2 colors and even put the lines in between for her. Then she went and actually jumped to the right letters with her body. So we had it spread out really big and she jumped to the P, then the U, then the P. And you can challenge them by spreading out even more. It's totally up to you. Another fun thing that you can do is if you go to the dollar store and buy a spray bottle, you can actually spray the correct letter, which is super fun. So then once we were finished with that, I would give her a piece of chalk so that she could even write the word underneath. And then on the sidewalk, we could just then go and do it again. And I can show you a picture of how that turned out.
Next, we're going to look at this workbook page right here. As you can see, the book directions say circle it, and they give you an example. There is a picture that goes along with 3 words, and your child is to pick the word that matches the picture and circle it. What we did to change this up was we did it on a window with dry erase marker. You can do this on a mirror if you'd like, or a window, and I actually cut out the pictures just in a little square and taped them to my window with Scotch tape. And I used my dry erase marker and I wrote the same 3 words that are right here. And then she went and identified the picture and circled the word on the window. It's a simple change, but it's something different. It's not in a book. She's moving around. It was very enjoyable in a sunny window.
We're going to take a look at this page next. This page, we're going to create a write the room. And if you've never done a write the room, it's such a simple way to add some movement to your lesson. And the way that this is set up, it's practically no work to get it put together. So we're going to use most of this page, but I'm going to take a piece of construction paper and I'm going to cut it up into 7 pieces so that I can write these words on these cards. And I will show you how I do that. Next, I would take these words and write them on the card, nice and neat for them to be read by my daughter. And I would just skip the one that was already finished. So once all 7 are written on these cards, I'm going to take this paper out. With this paper, I just don't want these words on top because we already wrote them down. And with this bottom half, I'm just going to put it on a clipboard ready for her to take around the room. These cards will be all over the room, on the wall, on a shelf, and I'll just either stand them up or tape them to something, and she will go and find the card. When she finds the card, she will match it to the picture and write the word on the paper.
This next page, the book directions say write it. There is a picture here and a space for your child to write the word. For this activity, we used shaving cream on the table. And if you've never done that, it is so much fun and your kitchen will smell very good afterwards. For some people, it can be a little bit frightening because it can get messy. But, you know, it's like I said, this is not something you do every day. This is just something to add a little twist. So what I usually do when we use shaving cream is I spray the shaving cream right on the table. I give them a chance to kind of mix it around and have some fun with it. Then I cut out these little pictures and I showed her one at a time because her hands were obviously a mess. I showed her a picture one at a time and then she wrote the word in the shaving cream. And then after the word was finished, she could erase it clean with her hand. Just a super fun way to practice spelling. When you're cleaning up shaving cream, let me give you another tip. I like to use a dry hand towel first. There's something about it being dry, it doesn't make it super sudsy and slippery. So I take a dry towel and wipe as much as I can with it dry. Then I take the towel and run it under the sink and wring it out, and then I can go back with the wet towel. So I'm just using that towel back and forth at the sink, but I always start it when it's dry, and for some reason that just cleans it up a little bit better. For this last page, it's actually quite fun. We're going to be using an app on the iPad. I do not use apps a lot. It's just not something I usually grab, but I wanted to really mix this page up because it has a lot of sentences for my child to read, and sometimes that can be frustrating for her. So I kind of just wanted to go all in and give her something exciting. So we're gonna be using an app called Chatterpix, and I'm gonna just quickly show you how it works. So you take a picture of something, and we took pictures of our stuffed animals. So I have an example for you here, and I'm gonna take his picture, and this is just something that your kids can do. So you can see there's his picture there. Now, the next thing you do is they're giving you an example. You take your finger and you trace the mouth. So I'm just gonna slide my finger across the mouth, and sometimes it takes a time or two to get it right. So there you can see, it shows you what you're doing, okay? So then what I told her is she had to sound out the sentence and read it to me first. And so then once she knew what it said, she would record her voice. So for example, the first sentence says, "The mat is big." And so once she sounded that out, I let her hit the record button.
Record in 3, 2, 1, go.
The mat is big. So then you hit stop. And you can go next. There is an opportunity to add stickers. Sometimes you gotta set limits. So I said you can choose 1 sticker, but I'm gonna skip over that, and you can hit next again. And then there's a chance for you to play it, and I'm gonna see if I can get it to show you without like a glare or something. Okay, here we go. The mat is big. There it is. It's just really goofy and fun. You can take pictures of like a lamp, and the lamp will talk. You can take pictures of a trash can, anything you want. And I think even in the stickers, if you wanted to kind of like make it a little more fun and real, you can add these mouths. And so you can make them smaller or bigger, and then make the mouth open and close with whatever you're trying to say. So just super fun, very different. And I'll tell you this, she keeps asking me to do it. So it was definitely a success. We had a lot of fun with it. You know, I'm super passionate about just having fun while learning. And I'm going to be honest, sometimes when you're just working in a book over and over, especially when the pages look similar, it tends to get a little bit boring, and the day might drag, and it's hard to get motivated to do something. So this is definitely something that I like to throw in every once in a while, and I hope that this variety of activities sharing with you is just kind of something that you can keep in your pocket for a good day. On the blog, I have a couple of different options as well that I explain on there, so definitely check out that if you are interested in kind of changing it up. A lot of these pages are very similar. You could do some of the activities I showed you for multiple different pages, so you have the freedom to choose how you want to do it or when you want to do it, but most importantly, I just hope that you enjoy these with your family.